Well, hello, dear listeners. Today, I am trying very hard to contain my excitement. I've been told sometimes I get really, really excited, and today I'm going to try, but I can't promise because I have none other than the world champion of public speaking, Verity Price. Verity, welcome to Toast Talks with Coach Busi. How are you today?
I'm so well, Busi. Thank you for having me.
Verity, I have been looking forward to today because I have watched you and I have been in awe of the journey that I caught. Clearly, I caught you when you are now having so many visits to different clubs to prepare for the World Championship. And it was a ride like no other. I probably could give a speech on your mother's story because I listened to it that many times and I just love it. Tell me, where did it all begin for you? Catch me up. Where did you start with Toastmasters? How did you get involved? And then please feel free to bring us to speed.
Oh, wow. So Toastmasters for me began in January 2011. I still remember my older sister Kay had joined to overcome her nerves of public speaking and her fear. And she asked me to come and listen to her icebreaker speech. And so I just pitched up with no sense of what to expect. I was already a professional speaker, so it wasn't something I was looking for myself. But at the end of that meeting, I was so inspired by the warmth of the welcome I'd received, by the incredible support Kay had been given as she nervously did her first speech. So when they said to me, "Do you want to join our club?" it was just a very, very easy yes. I want to be part of this. And it was a life-changing yes. I often say to people, you don't know when you say yes to things that yes is about to change your life. And that yes to joining Toastmasters was a yes that changed my life. And not for the reasons that most people will think, oh, it's because you became world champion in 2021, 10 years later. That has changed my life, but it's the 10 years that led to me winning that have been life-changing. So I got knocked out of competitive speaking by my own sister a year into being a member. So she was the terrified one. I was the confident one. And she beat me and she went all the way to the world semifinals with the sixth speech she'd ever done. And it was so humbling to see that actually, if you put the work in and you teach yourself step by step to write a great speech, you can go all the way. But I was so embarrassed that she beat me at club level and then went to the world semifinals with that speech that I instead said yes to the leadership opportunities in Toastmasters. And for 10 years, I predominantly served wherever I was needed in my club, at my division level. And I loved it. I got so much fulfillment out of it by mentoring other people. I was passionate about contests. I just didn't enter contests. Yeah, I didn't want to fail. I entered evaluations. I became a district champion for that. I came second in district for humorous, second in district for impromptu, but the international speech contest was like, no, this is too hard. I came third at division in 2015. I was like, never again. And so that really was my journey with Toastmasters. It was about service. It was about leadership, supporting other speakers. And I left Toastmasters in 2019 to become a mom. And I gave my final ever DTM, Distinguished Toastmasters speech. I wanted to leave the organization as a DTM. And I gave my final that you give as part of that journey. And it was the story of how my mum had taught me to leave the world better than you find it. So you've heard that story in the finals. But this is now 2 years before that. I gave it as my final speech at Toastmasters to be that's how I like to show up as a leader. And then I left and I became a mom. And that was it for me. But lockdown happened and life had other plans. And I rejoined a club that I'd helped to start when I'd been a division director. And it was in that and saying, guys, come on, we need to have a contest. We need to really use everything this organization has to offer us, that I watched the 2020 World Championships and saw Mike Carr win.
Yeah, and I remember Mike.
Yeah, I was so inspired. The victory is in the try. It's not in the result. Yeah. And oh gosh, I'm not even trying. And that was when 2021, I was like, I'm entering this contest. I'm going to work at it like my sister had worked at hers. I wasn't going to
Right.
cut corners. And just to see if we could bring the title back to Africa. And it worked. So that's story.
Yes, it so works. And you have no idea the number of people who are sitting on the edge of their seats going, oh my goodness, we have a winner coming home. We have the trophy coming home. It was absolutely exciting. Verity, I'm going to pose a few questions because you started with one club. Is that club that you started with still functioning? Is it still running today?
Yes, so Two Oceans Toastmasters must be 25, 26 years old. So I'm actually going to a reunion meeting next month. I haven't seen them for a while.
Ooh.
I'm excited. And then the club I'm with now, Toasted, is a club I started 6 years ago as a division director, mandate to start clubs. And
Yes.
they're still going very strong. And yeah, so that's also the highlight of Toastmasters is starting clubs and seeing them
Mhm.
flourish.
That is absolutely fantastic. So you were also passionate about the leadership part in Toastmasters. It wasn't just the public speaking.
Yeah.
That is good. Now, what is the one thing? I know this is a difficult question. What is the one thing that absolutely energizes you about Toastmasters?
Oh, wow. For me, if I, off the top of my head, it's watching people stand up and face a fear. That is humbling, it's inspiring, it's energizing. I'm often completely moved by
Mm.
how incredibly shy people can still be incredibly effective communicators when they use this program, and they still might be quiet and they still might be timid, but I was just seeing them come out of their shells and share their story and find their voice. That for me is the most energizing thing.
Oh, I love that. And that is so true because you have a whole community around you. And not only do you receive, but the community gives to you and gives you gives you the wings beneath your wings so that you can really soar and fly. Love, love, love that. Now, a lot of what you're saying, I really cannot get away from that speech of yours. Your mom by the beach picking up, the things that people had dropped on the beach. That actually triggered me to say, I am not going to look and see litter and leave it there. So whenever I walk and I see something, I will pick it up. And it's something that really was triggered by that speech.
You're
And
making me
that's
cry.
something.
I hope my mom is
Oh,
listening in
no,
heaven and going, oh, wow.
it's not even just that. The thing that I'm trying to bring to the forefront, Verity, apart from making you cry, that wasn't the objective, is that when people give speeches in Toastmasters, those speeches often touch people way more than the person giving the speech even begins to understand. So the effect and the impact of well written speeches with clear messages is absolutely phenomenal. And that's my favorite thing about Toastmasters and the speeches. You mentioned, Verity, how you were not looking to go for contests. That was not something that you were like raring to go. I'm a lot. I can relate to that. I mean, just thinking of entering contests, my palms start sweating. I'm thinking, what? You know, I will be sweating bullets. Tell me, how did you make that crossover? I know you mentioned my car, and give me something to hold on to should I ever decide to try for contest.
Oh, wow. What a great question. So, see, for me, it was such a bizarre set of circumstances that got me to compete again. But I'd watched Mike Carr's speech, it had really resonated with me. And then I had to start Pathways. So I had finished my DTM journey on the legacy program.
Mm-hmm.
And now I had to do Pathways and I had to do an icebreaker. as a DTM. And I was like, oh, and now because I'm a slightly lazy speaker, I thought, I'm not going to write a whole new speech. So I went and dug up my DTM speech. I rewrote it about my mum teaching me to leave the world better than I find it. And I did it as my icebreaker speech at the club. And I got off that meeting, and it was all online. We were in lockdown in 2020. And I thought, gosh, this is a message the world needs to hear. Like, if we just left this world better than we find it, we
Mhm.
wouldn't have any problems. And I thought, God, that's a message the world needs to hear. And then I thought, oh, well, then maybe it should be in a contest. Maybe I should enter. And as I thought that, a voice said, you will be world champion. And
Wow.
I got goosebumps. I was like, what? Where did that come from? But something in me went, this is what I want to say to the world. And the contest is the most incredible platform if you can go through the levels, that I got
Mhm.
that speech all the way to the world semifinals and could share that speech with the world. And that was what got me going. So it's get into what excites you, get into what frustrates you, what you think should change,
Mhm.
or how you think things should change. And when you find those speeches and those stories and those moments, then it's not just competing. Then it's like, I'm here because I have something to share. I'm not here just to tick a contest ballot box. Yeah.
Right. I'm on a mandate, and I love that. I'm a person who really thinks generationally. A pastor that I followed, Pastor Tom Duchel, is one who is very strong about generational blessings and carrying on legacy. So your speech is coming from a word from your mom, and now you are a mom yourself, and that gets to carry on. But not only is it carrying on in just your immediate family, you have now given it to the world. And that is absolutely awesome. I hear authenticity, and I hear being intentional, and I hear having a message. It's not just a speech, it's a message that we're taking out. How awesome would it be for every speech writer to actually think of that process, not as just ticking a box and saying, I finished level one, I've finished level two. So I really hope the listeners who are Toastmasters already are taking note of what you've said and how that then took this person who really did not want to enter contest to become world champion. When you were on that stage, when you were waiting for the announcement to be given, how did you feel?
Ooh, that was the most nail biting. I mean, because it was in lockdown, it was also weird because we pre recorded the contest and then you'd have to wait a couple of days. With the semifinals, we pre recorded in early August. They announced on the 23rd of August if we were through, and they played that contest. So we'd waited 3 weeks. And then I heard I was in the finals, and you had 8 hours to be able to pre record. So you had to have
Right?
your speech ready to go. And then you waited 2 days. So the decision was already made. You knew that they'd judged it then and there, they'd made a decision, and then we sat for 2 days. But I was really lucky that we could watch with friends at that point, and we were allowed 50
Ah,
people at a gathering. So we met at the waterfront. And I think because of lockdown, the fact that this amazing opportunity had happened for me, the people who could be there, they were so excited. And we had South African flags, we had vuvuzelas. It was like the 2010 World Cup. And we watched biting our nails because all the contestants were incredible. And
yes.
then we waited. I mean, my heart was in my throat. I felt so ill. And then they announced third place, second place. And every time I'm in a contest, there's always at least one other speaker where I'm going, they could have taken it. I might not have placed. And it's like, and the winner is, you heard the it was, we screamed, I cried. The vuvuzelas were going wild, and then we blasted Waka Waka. It's time for Africa, and we danced around like we just won the World Cup. It was the most extraordinary experience of celebration and joy. Yeah, next to getting married and having a child, it was up there. It was just
It was
unbelievable.
right up. It was, and that joy was all over. I remember lockdown. then the calls were starting. Did you hear? Did you hear? We got it. Verity brought it home. And what I loved about your journey was we all felt like we were part of it. Because when you were going around the clubs, practicing your speech, letting people eat what and asking for feedback. I remember you were at Centurion breakfast the one time, and I was in that party. Okay, oh my goodness, I'm actually in. And this is the girl who's gonna bring it home. So when you did, I'm like, yes, that's the journey. When she asked for feedback, I actually gave some feedback.
You
So
helped
I
co-create.
love we were together, typical African style. Everything is inclusive. We are together in this. So thank you so much for having done that. It brought an extra layer of excitement for people who were not in your immediate circle. But I feel like I've known you because when you're walking that journey, I was there following, where's she going next? Where's she going next? And wherever I could, I was right there. Now, Verity, this has come up and opened doors for you. I know you've written a book. I still need to order mine. When I tried the last time, I had a bit of a challenge, but I'm getting it. I try and get every Toastmasters book that is worthwhile. So I'm definitely getting yours. Tell me a little bit about your book.
So it is called Present with Power, and it's a step-by-step guide to writing and delivering powerful speeches. The irony is I wrote the bulk of it before I gave birth to my child. That's how passionate I am about writing and delivering great speeches, and I was already teaching presenting skills. And then I won the world championship, and I forgot that I'd written a book, and I forgot that I had something to offer people for a good 6 months. And I was like, I should print my book. I should put it on my website. And it's been incredible. I mean, I think I've sold 5,000 copies so far. People are using it to help them prepare for keynotes, to use it for big, important work presentations, TEDx talks.
Mm,
And I'll
mm.
sometimes get emails from people I haven't even coached one-on-one saying, I use these 3 chapters and I've seen such a difference in my speech. So for me, I wanted to give people a really useful guide to writing and delivering speeches. It's got all the theory, but each chapter's also got templates and check boxes to go, have I got an enthralling introduction? Are my points all transitioning well? So it's really a way to reflect back. And I love that I can give people support. I say it's like having a coach in your pocket. They can have me with them writing their speeches.
Awesome. Getting that book. You have my word, and I'm a person of my word. I'll probably get one for my daughter as well. She's also a Toastmaster. So 2 books coming our way. Verity, you speak of the coaching side. Now, I didn't realize that you were already a speaker before you started. Has being world champion done anything at all to your business? Has it enhanced it, or is it just the same? Talk about asking a question you know the answer to, but wanting
It's
the
a
world
load.
champion to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's quadrupled my business, which has been extraordinary. It's opened up an entire new point of revenue of actually coaching people who want to win the contest. So I get to walk this journey with people every year, and it is such a privilege. I've been very lucky the 3 years I've coached. Each year I've had one of my clients place third in the world, which is unbelievable, let alone getting to the finals, but placing three years in a row.
That's
Which
awesome.
very cool. I've had some clients I've gotten to the semifinals twice, so that's been amazing for me. But from a professional perspective, it's put me on the faculty of the top business school in Africa, the Graduate School of Business at University of Cape Town. I get to work with professors and doctors. I'm the only person there who's only got an undergraduate degree, but the title has made me a subject matter expert on communication, on presenting skills. So I work all over Africa as a result of that, and then online all over the world. So it's life-changing. But it's a choice. When someone wins
Mm-hmm.
this, they do. I just go back to my day job, because a lot of Toastmasters, even if they become world champion, they've also got a day job. I happen to already be a speaker. But
Right.
it's a choice what you want to do with the title and how much you want it to do for you, or it can just be this fun thing you did. So it's like anything, you choose how valuable you make it. And I've been very grateful over the last 3 years to see how much value it's brought into my life.
This always brings me back to people who are challenged with the subscription fee. And I look at it and think, do you understand what you can actually do when you have gone through Toastmasters? And it doesn't matter where it is. If you're employed, you can really go ahead and shine because every presentation you make is top notch if you've done the work. Now look where you are now. You said quadruples. That is really awesome. And you are still paying $60, right? Or did we
100%.
charge you more? Because there could be an argument that world championships winners should pay more.
I like
So
it.
just confirm, are you still paying the regular 60 like the person
I'm
who
paying,
hasn't even done? You are paying 60. So
and I
there you
serve
are.
Toastmasters around the world for the rest of my life. So that's the world champion we give back with teaching and supporting however we can at conferences. So I think it's a two-way street. It works well for everyone.
Absolutely, that it does. And when you talk of two-way streets, I have been bragging on this channel about how generous Toastmasters are. I was in your inbox. One on one, you and I had not spoken, but I made my request. You understood the ask. And without betting an eyelash, without giving me grief, all you mentioned was we just need to find the time that works for you and me. But your answer immediately was yes. I am so grateful to be in this organization, in this community that is so giving. And it doesn't matter who I am speaking to. I have had on the channel a guest who was with Toastmasters at the time for exactly 1 month, and she was on the channel. Now I'm speaking to you. You have been world champion, and everyone in between. Tim Knight, DTM, who's been with Toastmasters 40 years, everyone I have asked to come and join us has said a resounding yes. What makes Toastmasters so Verity? What is it? What's the secret sauce?
So I think the secret sauce for me in Toastmasters is whenever somebody joins this organization, they're joining because they're wanting to learn, they're wanting to grow, they're wanting to improve. And you very quickly see that is not a solo activity. It is an
Mm.
Ubuntu experience. I am because we are. And so we realize it's only through saying yes, helping, extending ourselves that personal growth we're looking for actually happens. So I think that's why people in this organization are so eager to serve and support. And it's why I stayed. It's why I came back. It's why I'm not going anywhere. It's an incredibly special space to become the best version of yourself.
Love it, nailed it. I would have asked you have final words for the listeners, but it sounds like that was a good wrap. But I will still go ahead and say one last word from you to anybody who will be coming by, whether you're an assisting Toastmaster, a Toastmaster still sitting on the fence, because I believe everyone really should be a Toastmaster. What we get from this organization, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a lecturer, everybody really can benefit from Toastmasters. So, Verity, for having come and joined, thank you. Would you give the listeners a final word from the world champion?
My final word, never mind as a world champion, just as a fellow human being, is
Mm.
that when you find your voice, when you understand the value of your lived experience and the stories that you have to share and the lessons that they carry with them, that is when you find your power. And life's too short to go through it without sharing your voice and having your voice being heard in the spaces where you need it to be heard. So give yourself permission to find your voice and find your power.
A strong, strong final word. Love it again. You are so authentic in everything that I hear. Keeps joining dots because that's what your mom did with the story she gave you. And leave the world a better place. Thank you for leaving my world a better place today, for saying yes and coming on and spending time with me and the dear listeners. Verity, all the best in your business. Hugs and kisses to your child and keep shining. Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you. Mwah.
All right. We'll see you again in the Toastmasters Suite where fun is always had. Because if it's not fun, it's not Toastmasters. Thank you, listeners, for joining Verity and I today. And until we come again the next episode with another fantastic, awesome speaker. This is CoachBusi signing out.